Kaptırıyor topu. Ali Tanrı çok süratli. Ali orta yapacak. Sert orta. Sert orta.
Welcome everyone back to beautiful Bursa, and before we invite the big bad boys of BEŞİKTAŞ to our humble abode, we of course have some games to catch up on. But that humble abode of course is not this lovely building I'm in. In fact, this lovely building is the Grand Mosque. So I'm going to finish having a little look around on my own. I'll see you fine folks back in the game in just a second. Okay, so kicking off our recap of all players, it is in fact Recap. Recap has had a fantastic few games in these 3 games between episodes. Starting with this one, as you can see, Diarra wins the ball back. I've left this on key highlights. Probably not the best idea when we are doing 3 games. So I'm going to swap it to goals, which we have one singular goal. As you can see, Omar here on the left-hand side whips one in. It's headed away, but Recap gets it out wide, smashes it in on the 87th minute. We look doomed to a draw, but Recap saves us. And like I said, he continues that form going into the next 2 games. But first of all, in this game, we had 10 shots, they had 10. 5 on target, they had 2. 0.83 to their 0.7 XG. 2 corners to 3. 10 fouls to 19. 2 yellow cards to 0. 89% passing to their 80. And 61% possession to their 39. We was the better team, but it was a pretty even game, all things considered. Like I said, 10 shots apiece. But that was our first game. How did we get on in that cup though? Well, as you can see from the score, the cup game went well also. So Özlu gets it over to Özkan on this left hand side, who is dispossessed. Gave that away a little bit too easily. Again, I've left this on key highlights, so we're going back to the goals. It's from Özkan now, whipping it in, back post. Header, nodded past the goalkeeper. We then have Özkan getting a goal of his own in the penalty. Slots it in the left-hand side also. Özlu now throws it into Özkan. Back to Özlu once more. Whips one in for Ndoye. Nods it down for Recap, who smashes one in. 3-0. They did get one back in the end, and it was a pretty decent one. Root one ball over the top. He lobs the goalkeeper, Manfredini. Absolutely embarrassed by their striker, which, considering they're 2 divisions down from us, that's a bit worrying for Manfredini. But as you can see, the team on the whole had a good game. Both our centre-backs got an 8.1 and a 7.3. We've got 7.1 in the middle here, 7, 7, 7.5 and a 7.4 up front. Sedat also came on, did a 7.2. Now, speaking of Sedat has been complaining that he hasn't been starting. I accidentally left him as a starting player. Luckily, he did accept becoming a squad player, so we don't have an issue with him anymore. So that is nice to have settled. We then have a couple of players who have come back from loans simply because the players weren't getting used how they should have been. It was wasting their development. I think I might have mentioned in the previous episode to do with another guy called Cock, I believe. Yeah, we've had the same sort of situation happen again, so I just brought him back, put him in the youth team. We'll try and get him back out on loans. If not, they can develop in the development league. But that does mean our wages are going to struggle. As you can see, our wage has gone down to 800 on what is left over. And we have a little bit of an issue with a wage rise. So Kubale is actually due for a wage rise. He's going to go up to 6,500 instead of 5,500. So that is going to take us £200 over. So if you see this down in the bottom right go over, then you'll know exactly why. And finally, of course, we had our second league game. As you can see, we won that one 2-0. Also, a very comfortable game. 13 shots for them to our 6. So they was a little bit more dominant than we were. 7 to our 4. We will have a little look at the goals. Their 2 strikers were managed to handle. Considering they are a much better team, this was a lovely performance. As you can see, Recap did kick us off with a penalty. Now, are we on key highlights or are we on goals? That is the real question. No, we're not. We're on key highlights. So, Recap slotting the penalty away in the bottom left corner. We then have the second goal where Rigatsu kicks it over the top. Aaron runs onto it, 1-1 with the goalkeeper. Defence couldn't get in front of him. Slots it in the bottom right hand side. And what a beautiful game. So, The other stats, as we were saying, 1.24 on the XG to their 1.26, 3 corners to their 9, 6 fouls to their 15, 1 yellow card to 2 yellow cards, 85% possession to their 82, 54% possession to their 46. Sorry, that first one was passing. We can't have 82 and 85% possession, but you already know that. You already know that I'm a little bit dumb. And as you can see, a lot of players having magnificent performances. Omar did struggle. We did bring on Uslu on. He also didn't have the greatest of games, but it didn't matter in the end. Ozcan had a decent performance. Sinan, he struggled. I believe what I did was I moved Recap into the middle. I brought on Sadar onto this side, and then I ended up bringing on... Oh, sorry. I think I brought Diarra onto this side, and then I swapped Recap out for Sadar. Sadar, and swapped him over, basically. That's basically the way that went, I think. So, yes, that was the substitutions in that game. But it's time for the big one, Beşiktaş. We got absolutely slapped. Well, in the end, we got slapped about by Fenerbahçe. We gave them a good game for 60 minutes, was it? Last half an hour, they just, once we was behind, we just couldn't get back up the hill. We was just rolling down and down the hill as soon as we conceded that third goal, and it just punished us. But enough of that, enough of reminiscing about those awful times. We are going to get into our game against Beşiktaş. We're at home instead of being away, so that might help a little bit. Beşiktaş are a little bit of a weaker team at the moment, so we might have an opportunity here. As you can see, Kian Williams, interesting. We don't know how aggressive he is, so we're going to keep scouting him. If he does become not aggressive enough, we'll discard him, because we only accept players who are 12, is it, and above? 12 or 13. I try to aim for 13 above anyway, but I think it's 12 and above as our minimum expectation from a player. As you can see, Rizspor is actually top of the league at the moment. They're doing a lovely job getting up there. Galatasaray is down in 4th. This is a weird league right now. Beşiktaş in 7th, and we're 10th. Trabzonspor, who slapped us about at the start, we're a point behind. Interesting. We're on -5. Got a bit of a goal difference going on these. Oh, and Kayserispor, who's just below us, we play a lot recently. As you'll see, after this Beşiktaş game, I'm going to play through to the Adana one. But before that, I played them in the Cup. I then play them yet again in the Cup. It's a double leg, so that's 2 games later. And then I play them in the league here. And then we play them in the league at the end of the season. So we're definitely going to have that one on video, the end of the season one. We're not going to have any of the Cup ones because I don't want to overdo it with playing Kayserispor in a lot of the episodes. So I have planned out who we will be doing videos on between now and the end of the season. I've got a rough idea. I've tried to make it teams where some are bigger names, some are teams that we're going to struggle. Get a nice little mix in there, you know. Try and play everyone in a video. Whoever we don't get to this season, we'll try and get to next season, sort of thing. But enough about that. I'm rambling. We don't want to sit here and listen to me ramble. They're suggesting I go more balanced. Now, we are at home, but I still think I should stick to cautious. We're playing Beşiktaş. We've played cautious away at a weaker team, so I'm thinking this is probably still the best approach. As you can see, Recap is coming in for Diarra on that right-hand side. He's just better on that right-hand side, quite frankly. So it's the other usual suspects. We've got Manfredini in goal, Musin, Obilor, Kubilay, Omar. We then have Emran, Ozcan in central midfield. As you can see, they've started to link up nicely. Sinan in front, Recap on the right-hand side, Eren on the left, and Ragazzu up front. No changes to the bench, although we do have to worry about Ozcan picking up a yellow card for a future suspension. So, let's hop straight in. We have a few people who disagree with this approach. Whack the ball into the box doesn't suit his passing. Obilor, I don't know if you've noticed this, but you're not a striker, nor are you a midfielder. You're sitting at the back, whacking the ball into the box literally has no effect on the way you're going to be playing the game. Absolutely not. So I don't know why that's an issue, but It's not Friday. It's not Friday. We can't get down on Friday. So, I want you to pick up where you left off last time out. That is not a bad approach. I will go with that assistant. Unfortunately, the team is not going with it so much. Emran, he took it all right. No one's really disheartened by it, but it wasn't the most motivational speech, was it? Beşiktaş, recent good form has them 5th in the form table. Sorry, good run has them in 5th in the form table. How much of a threat do they pose? They're one of the big teams. I'm looking forward to it. I hope we can put a dent in their aspirations. They're a threat, but so are we. We can't be scared of this sort of challenge. We have to embrace it and enjoy the opportunity to you know what, yeah. Let's embrace it. We're going to embrace this 4-0 defeat. We're not going to get defeated 4-0, fingers crossed. How do you intend to seize the initiative against an opponent who, like Bursaspor, prefer to dominate possession? Well, we're just going to have to get used to not having the ball in this game. At the end of the day, I believe we're better than... I'm not that optimistic. I'm expecting a fascinating contest, and we'll have to be at our best when it comes to reacting and adjusting. That's where it's won and lost. We have... Nobody really considers luck to be a factor, but... when the margins are fine, I won't say the margins are fine. We have to disrupt what they want. No, it's going to be a fascinating contest. We'll go with a fascinating contest. As you can see, won, lost, won, won, won. Not bad for 6 games in 5 games. Not a bad little run. As you can see, Beşiktaş, though, undefeated in their 6 games, or 5 games, because it can't count. I still don't know why it says last 6 games, but only shows you 5 of them. But, maps. Maps, people, maps. We are walking out onto the pitch, lining up. 10th in the league will play 5th. Currently down in 6th. They must have dropped due to other teams winning. Anyway, Kubile heads it away. It's now with Barris. Barris will he whip one in? He does. It's nodded away by Musin. It's headed back in, though, by Jones. And Guven will get them off to a goal. 7 minutes in. His 3rd of the season as well. Great. Not the way to start today's game. I guess we will go up to balanced. Guess we will. Assistant, I'm going to bow down to your superior knowledge and go on to that balanced approach. Might be a little late, but who knows. Govan coming down this left-hand side, plays it to Sakala. Sakala, or Sakala, I guess. Tries to get past Emran. He does. He's pulled it back, and he's got it back, in fact. Jones, edge of the area. Lucky for us, wide. And we're not 2-0 down after 10 minutes, although it was very worrying. So, let's try and get one back, lads. In fact, we're going to go positive. No, we're not. Never mind. Omar's got a throw-in. Throws it into Sinan. It's now Emrahan, edge of the area. Can we build anything from this? Ozkan plays it over to Emrahan. Sinan. Play it over to Recap, perhaps. No, back to Ozkan. He will play it to Recap, though, and he's got it to Emrahan. Musin got it because of space on this right-hand side. Plays it over to Recap. Will he whip it across or go alone? That is the question. He's just going to hold the ball for a while. Plays it into Sinan. Shot is blocked by Nasip, and we have a corner. Let's see if we can do anything from this set piece. Emrahan will take it. Whips it in. Front post. Doesn't get in, but it's gone to Erin. Erin will collect on this left-hand side. Will he cross it or go alone, perhaps? No, he's just going to give the ball back. Great. Just going to run into their defender. And that's the end of that opportunity. But we gave it a good go. Essen will take the goal kick. Hoofs it upfield. Barris. I believe it's Barris. Anyway, whips it into Govan, who can't keep his shot down. I'm lucky for it. It's still 1-0. You know what? 1-0 against Beşiktaş. I could take that, even at home. But we still want to push. We still want to try for a result, you know. We can't just resign ourselves to defeat. But we are going to resign ourselves to being behind in half-time. So, we've had 1 shot all half. They've had 4, 0 on targets to their 1, 0.14 XG even to their 0.24. Very boring game in that aspect. 2 corners to 1, 6 fouls to 6, 0 yellow cards, 0 red cards, 88% passing to their 78, which is nice to see. Possession 62% to their 38. So we just need to start doing something with the ball. They're not doing much, we're not doing much. If we can start utilising our possession, we could actually win this game. So I know we're underdogs, that give the fans something to cheer for. That's a good approach. Unfortunately, we didn't get the reaction that it really deserved. I trust our assistant with that call. That was a good call. Unfortunately, though, the players just didn't manage to respond in the correct manner it's required. Obilor, though, having a nice little game. Unfortunately, though, Recap is not showing the form he's shown between episodes, which is rather disappointing, and nor is Ragatsu. Ragatsu is having a rough time. So, who is the worst players at the moment? Ragatsu, Recap, we've got Muslin, Emrahan. Muslin isn't going to really help us get any goals swapping him out. That's the problem with that one. Vulcan, yeah, we'll bring you in. So you can go. In fact, no. Who is our best deep line playmaker who isn't playing as a deep line? Ah, interesting. Ozcan and Atkas. Right. Ozcan, who could go in your spot? Interesting. So what we could do is this. We'll swap you over, give him a chance to try and play a little bit better but from the midfield. Bring him on. Recap's struggling also. Is Sinan having a good game? No, he's struggling as well. Recap I could move into the middle, but I don't think that's really going to make the change that we need. So Sedai is going to come on. We then have Ragatsu, who's having a rough game. So Endoy can come on for Ragatsu, because he has to know that he's not guaranteed a place. He can't just play awful and then expect to stay on the pitch. We then have, he's going to be trying to play a bit better. Omar's having a rough game, and Goulier's having a rough one. Ket's having a rough one. Diarra can come on for Sinan, I guess, and that is our approach going forward. We'll bring those on. Hopefully they can make a change to our fortunes. Ozcan is one yellow card away from a suspension. I mean, he's just picked up a yellow card. He's going to get a suspension anyway. We may as well just ignore that one, because we've already had a look. He needs one yellow card to get a suspension. If he's picked up a yellow card, he's going to be suspended anyway. So, yeah. Okay. So you're telling me 70 odd minutes into a game that he's a yellow card away from a suspension? That's weird. That really is weird. I thought you would have warned me about that, maybe half-time or something. Going, oh, by the way, this guy's on the yellow card. But nothing really happened for the rest of the half, did it? It just went and cruised out. Now, like I said, can't be too disheartened losing to Beşiktaş 1-0. In that fashion, yeah, we probably could. But one shot, we can't really complain too much when we've had one shot all game. They had 8. 0 shots to their 4, 0.14 XG to their 0.54, 3 corners 7, 10 fouls to 15, 0 yellow cards to 1 yellow card, 88% passing to their 82, 60% possession to their 40. So that 7th minute goal being the decider. Nobody had a good game. I don't think they had anyone who really stood out, did they? Their striker got a 6.2. I would say it was probably this Barris guy who was the main player in today's game. He was the decider. He made the key pass. And yeah, that is not the greatest game. Very dull game indeed. So let's head to the dressing room. I'm not happy with that performance, quite frankly. We played Beşiktaş, but that just was an awful performance all round from every single player on the pitch. So your side dominated the ball with 60% possession, but you somehow find yourselves on the losing side. Just how did that happen? Well, there was 22 people on that pitch. It was awful. Both sides made substitutions. Those substitutes were awful. So that is how we ended up with that situation. So it's obviously frustrating to not even come away with a point from a game where you dominated possession. But we've got to learn our lessons from matches like this. Yeah, learn our lessons. How disappointed are you after a defeat in which your team failed to work the opponent's goalkeeper once? Nobody likes losing, especially in those circumstances. But I think there were things we can be... was there? I mean, yeah, to be fair, we didn't get smashed by Beşiktaş. That is a positive. Losing is never a positive, but that is at least some bit of glimmer of hope we got from that game. And Doy, of course, vowing to end his goal drought. Don't know how long that is exactly, but he's our sub, so it might be a while yet before he manages to do that. Fenerbahçe getting a win against Trabzonspor. That's nice for them. Any teams below us? No, nobody's got a game in hand. Adana, though, did a nice job. They managed to crawl out of the relegation zone. Bandy is still in there. We still have Konyaspor and Ankara Gusu? Ankara Gusu, I'm going with. Anyways, our next game isn't for 13 days, so I guess we've got an international break, then have Galatasaray, and then a game against Kayserispor for between episodes. So I'll see you fine folks back for the Adana game, and I hope you all have a lovely night. So, goodbye.